I'm Tracy, back with some more ostomy ideas. So people ask all the time, what does it look like to do an ostomy change? It's different for everybody, and you have to do what works for you. So you're probably asking, what works for me? I don't even know. Well, the key is you need to try different things. If you're having leaks, first and foremost, I would talk to your wound and ostomy nurse. They're amazing. They have lots of tips and tricks that can help you. If you just need some quick ideas, here's some things that I've done over the years. I've learned from patients, I've learned from nurses, and I've tried with myself. So we have Lloyd here. He is an ostomy. We're gonna say he's got an ostomy right here, which is where a lot of people have their ostomies. We're gonna do a full change on Lloyd, and I'm gonna go through all of the items that require a change so you can see what happens. So first and foremost, we wanna make sure it's a nice clean surface. Most ostomy nurses that I've ever talked to, soap and water is great. Water alone is great. If you're going to use soap though, it cannot have any emollients in it. No lotions, no aloe, nothing, because that will not let your adhesives stick to them. So that's why water is a safe choice. You can also go with wound cleansers that you can find online. They do a great job. And they're baby wipes, but you want the ones that are mostly water. If they have aloe or anything in there, it's gonna create a slick surface and make your ostomy come off really quick. So just avoid those. So water is the safe place to go. So now that we know we have a nice clean surface, the ostomy area is nice and clean, we are going to put paste first. Now paste is one of those items, you either love it or you hate it, but it's a great item. The perfect choice is a great consistency, so it creates a nice barrier around your ostomy. It helps absorb a little bit of moisture to help block out moisture from escaping, and it protects your stoma from adhesion, or not adhesions, but from being hit by your barrier a little bit. So we're gonna open this up. It's got a nice big opening, which I love. And so I'm gonna try to do this artfully. And I'm just gonna put it in a circle. And how much you put kind of depends on you and what you need. And as you play with the different things, and I say play respectfully, but it's kind of what you have to do when you have an ostomy. You'll see it's not perfect, and I kind of globbed it up over here. Well, if I put my hand on it, it's gonna stick to my hand and it's gonna be like taffy. And this is what people don't like about paste. Simple Q-tip in water, and now it's not gonna stick. Lets me remold it, shape it, put a little bit, drag a little bit more down here, and now it's nice and easy. Don't have a Q-tip, same thing works with your finger. That way it stays on where you want it to be, not on your hands. So if you avoid paste because you don't like the texture, this is your best friend. And then next, we're gonna put on a ring. Now, there's a million rings out on the market. They're all great for somebody, not necessarily you. So if you're using a ring and it's not doing what you want it to do, if it's not giving you a great barrier, then maybe just try a different brand, and that's fine. If you are using one brand of appliances, you can use a different brand of rings. They don't all have to be the same. Now, appliances, a wafer and a pouch, they are made to go together. Those two things are not interchangeable, but all the other appliances and stuff, they are. So don't be afraid to try a different brand if you're not getting what you think you need from your product. Now, our rings are nice and viscous. They're nice and thick, and when I say thick, not in diameter, but they're tough. But if you notice, when you stretch it, it kind of goes back. And that's nice because when you stretch it, it goes back and hugs your ostomy, and that's exactly what you want it to do. Now, these are heat activated, so a lot of times, most of the time, before I put it on mine to make it stretch a little bit easier, I just take it and I'll put it in the crook of my arm while I'm cleaning off my ostomy, maybe just set it on my lap, whatever. But just get it a little bit warm. I'm not cooking it, I'm just warming it up, and then it'll stretch a little bit. Okay, it stretches either way, but that's just kind of my thing. And then I take it and I put it around my ostomy. Okay, now these two items will eventually meld together. So you'll have a pretty thick little barrier here, but again, you can make the paste thinner or thicker. Rings come in standard and thin sizes, so you have an option there as well. And now you've got a nice dressing. Now remember, your ostomy's in the middle here. So if it's not perfect, if it's not hugging it 100%, it will expand with heat and it will hug it nice and tight. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. You don't have to be perfect in ostomy. Your body will adjust these appliances in some manner anyway. So now we're gonna go and add a wafer. So you either have a one-piece system, which has a wafer already attached to a bag, or you have a two-piece system. Here's the wafer, and here's the bag or pouch. Both work great. It's just a preference of what works for you. Your ostomy nurse may have had a preference to start you off with, but a lot of times when you leave the hospital, they do something that's super easy for you to start and get comfortable. But as you have your ostomy for some period of time, you might find that you need something that's a little bit lower profile, something that's just a little bit easier, and a one piece might be better. Sometimes a two piece is better. I currently kind of go through both of them. So it's just kind of what works for you at the time. Okay. Different manufacturers have different products. They all boil down to be very similar, but sometimes the adhesives are different and your skin may react differently, good or bad, to different products. So just keep that in mind. So now we have the wafer. I'm going to take off the backing. Okay. And again, this is probably not perfect. So I'm going to take this, center it as best I can. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is underneath this stuff is it's going to expand a little bit. Okay. So now there's carrier tape on, or carrier film on the outside. So I'm going to just hold it here. If this were my body, you could feel it like melt a little bit on heat. And then just kind of wrap this around. Okay, now this is a tape barrier. You can see that it looks like tape, feels like tape, super flexible, very comfortable. And sorry, I'm in a little awkward situation here, or position, but you get the idea. Okay, so have this down here. So now then the next thing that I would do is put the pouch on. And these are, you know, like Tupperware. They are made to fit together. You can't take a Rubbermaid lid and put it on a Tupperware container. They don't fit. So the same thing with ostomy. Okay. So generally you just kind of seat it around. It'll click. I don't know if you heard that or not. There we go. And now it's in place. And then you would put a clip on it, or Velcro if that's what your closure is, or some type of closure. And now you've got your ostomy changed. So one of the other things that I'd like to do, barrier strips. These are a godsend. They're made of hydrocolloid material, which is a tried and true wound care product for a million years. Nurses love them. And you just put it around the diameter. Okay. Now if you have a hydrocolloid based exterior instead of the tape, they basically melt together and it becomes one. If you have the tape, it looks a little bit different, but it serves the same purpose. It just gives you more real estate to hold it on tighter. And this is great. I use these. I'm a little fluffy, so I use these because I need that extra room to hold it nice and tight in place, but they stretch. So the nice thing about these, like, these are really awesome. They stretch. So when you move, they move too, but they always go back. So these are a great thing. If you're not using these, I highly recommend these. When these came out on the market a long time ago, I remember being very excited about this, and I wasn't even an ostomy yet, but I was working with patients, and this was like the missing link in ostomy care in my eyes. So this is a full change, and you could go and do your day and be in good shape. So there you go. Thanks.